Networking Hangout. I'm your host, Melanie McDonald, and today we have a special episode for you. Today is the Toastmasters episode. I've got really great guests coming in today. They are fellow members of my local Toastmasters Club, the Desert Sunrise Speakers, who meets in Palm Desert, California, Thursday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. We are an early bird meeting that is great for self-employed, small business owners, and people that like to get their networking in early and then get on with their workday. Toastmasters has been a great experience and a great skill and learning and talent building venture for me. It's been really wonderful. It's helped me a lot as far as being a host on this wonderful show, the TGIF Business Networking Hangout, and just as a self-employed entrepreneur, solopreneur who needs to go out, do some networking, promote myself. When I go to my networking mixers and I have to give a great 30-second commercial, introduce myself, I'm able to do a great job without lots of ums and ahs and know what I need to say because I go to these Toastmaster meetings and I get a lot of practice speaking in front of an audience. We get exercises in our books, we get workbooks that give us speech projects that we complete. And each speech project has us focus on a different skill. For example, vocal variety, using your voice and your inflections in your voice so you're not just talking in a boring monotone like this. Using body language, making eye contact with the audience, and other things that you're going to hear about from my fabulous fellow members. So without further ado, let's get started and let them introduce themselves. First up, we have Brian Rowley. Go ahead, Brian.
Good morning. My name is Brian Rowley, mousehelp@roselle.com. And primarily I do content for websites. I do websites. I can help you with your getting from your blog posts to your social media and from there to drive traffic to your website so you can do more business.
Awesome. Thank you. And why did you join Toastmasters, Brian?
Because I thought I was already a good speaker and found out very quickly that there were a whole lot more lessons to learn about that. So now I don't say or you know or so or let's see very often. And I've learned even how to not let my inner dialogue come out and influence my speaking.
Great. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Thank you so much. Edie, you're up next. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what made you join Toastmasters.
My name is Edie Doherty. My main thing in life is playing on the computer, specifically a Mac, and I found that I had enough patience to really work with mostly older folk who are a little lost on their computers and want to be able to do stuff. I started Toastmasters at the urging of a friend who I met through at a Mac meeting, and I thought another friend a long time ago had told me I should do that it would be, I'd really enjoy it. Her son was advancing through Toastmasters. So I went to one meeting and I was sold at the flag salute.
Oh, great. Awesome.
And I found out that, well, I was the president of our homeowners association, and I knew I wanted to be more relaxed when you're talking and giving information and that kind of thing, and that was my goal. I don't care about speaking in front of people. I have the fear that Brian doesn't know about, and not in large doses, but enough that it's not something I have a big goal for. But I'm an example of a slow learner. I've been in Toastmasters since 2010 and have advanced slowly, helping out along the way. I'm a good member, I think, as far as participating and helping it float, but my own advancement is taking a turtle's pace.
Well, you know, you say that, but I don't think anybody else at our club agrees, because Toastmasters isn't just about public speaking and speaking in front of people. It's also about leadership. And you've really taken on a lot of the leadership responsibilities in our club with taking on the officer roles and really providing a great example for all our other members to follow about participation and making things happen. So I personally have a little bit of a different view of that. I wouldn't say that you are a slow advancer at all. I think that you're just advancing on the leadership track more than the public speaking track. And I think that's something to really look up to.
Thank you.
Edie?
Glad to be here.
Excuse me, Linda. Linda, you're next. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your biz, and then tell us why you decided to join Toastmasters.
My name is Linda Jesse, and I am an owner at ProWatch Senior Care Services. We do in-home, non-medical care. And I chose to join Toastmasters. Originally, I chose to join Toastmasters because it started early in the morning. It was a great way for me to get up in the morning and get going, because if I have to be somewhere 7:20 in the morning, I'm definitely not going to sleep in that day. Once I'm up and running, and I'm doing great. And once I started going to Toastmaster meetings, I enjoyed it. It's a fun time in the morning to meet with other people and to learn and to work together as far as leadership and speaking is concerned. So in everything we do, we communicate. If I can better my communication, then I can be better in my job.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tim Johnson, you're next. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us why you joined Toastmasters.
Hi, everybody. I see all you guys. I assume you all see me.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Well, my name's Tim Johnson. I'm just an undistinguished retiree who occasionally writes a little poetry, short stories, critical essays and stuff. And I joined Toastmasters basically to meet new people and make new friends and have fun.
That's great. So for you, it's more a social thing, right? But what?
Yeah.
Is that what keeps you there as well, just for the social fun aspect?
Well, the chance to make a difference for somebody else. As a retiree, I have no career ambitions, but if I can help a young person with career ambitions, that's what does it for me.
Oh, that is so awesome. You know, and I got to tell you, people out there, I love my Toastmasters group. I've been to actually a few different clubs in the area, a few different meetings, and what can I say? Mine's the best. Desert Sunrise Speakers that meets in Palm Desert at the Portola Community Center on Thursdays from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. And, you know, just from the introductions that you saw here, you saw a good variety of reasons for people to be in Toastmasters. Some it's because we're self-employed and it helps us speak in front of audiences about our businesses. Some we had other reasons. For example, Edie just wanted to be able to be more confident and comfortable giving information out at our homeowners association as president of our homeowners association. And Tim gets a lot of fulfillment out of being a mentor to other people who are up and coming and wanting to increase their skills. And those are all really just awesome aspirations. And there's something for everybody in these clubs. Now, I mentioned that we have workbooks that we get when we join as a Toastmaster, and we get projects. We get two books. One is the leadership track book, and one is the speakers book. And if any of you in the peanut gallery there have those books handy, please grab them out so we can show them on screen. I left mine in Dom's car yesterday, so I don't have mine with me. I'm so unprepared. But the really awesome thing is that even today, participating on the TGIF Business Networking Hangout, our members who are here will be able to get a check mark as a project completed in one of their books. Linda, oh, let me put Linda up there. So hold them up just a little bit higher. There you go. Great. And Linda, you were telling us that you were working on a, was it radio or podcast or something that you'll be able to get credit for your appearance today on TGIF?
And that would be in my public relations book. So there's different, these are advanced books. So I'm working on speeches by management and then public relations. And in my public relations book, it prepares you or talks to you about talking on a radio program and being able to convey information. Some of the other books that I've completed is The Entertaining Speaker, and that's basically teaching people to, as you're conveying information, to make it a little more fun and not dry. And then the Professional Speakers. So all of the ones I've chosen are to help me in my business.
That's great. And there are other books too that are just for fun and for people who want to be professional public speakers too, that give them a wide variety of skill building. Tim, I'm going to go to you because you're holding up a couple of things. Oh, Toastmaster Magazine. Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, we get those every month. I get a package with several of each issue because I belong to several different clubs. So I give them out to guests at club meetings. I'm holding them so as to block the sunlight through the drapes behind me, so my face shows up better.
Great. Well, are you going to hold them up the whole show then?
No, I don't think so. Bye-bye.
Okay. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. And at this point, I'd like to remind any viewers out there, anybody in the audience, if you're watching, if you have any questions, please go ahead and post them into the comments under the event page. We'll be able to see them in here, or feel free to join us inside the Hangout and ask any questions. There is a link to join the Hangout in the comments on the event page. We'd love to have you in here. Okay. Oh, now Linda's holding up the leadership book. Tell us a little bit about that.
Often people think of Toastmasters as just for speaking, but there is a leadership component. The nice thing with the leadership handbook is that it takes you through 10 different projects. Each project has several steps. So you may be learning how to listen. Sometimes we don't understand how to listen or how to evaluate. So with this, it helps you to walk through and learn how to listen and learn how to pay attention. And after you complete this book, then you get a designation as competent leader.
Right, and each of these books that we complete, which is really nice, you get a certificate from the Toastmasters organization that says that you completed this and you have advanced in these skill sets. And this is really nice for people who are employed in a workplace, that they can bring those in, show them to HR, show them, hang them on their wall as accomplishments. It looks good on a resume. It looks good in helping you advance in your workplace up your career ladder. And for anybody else who is just self-employed, we're not maybe going to show our certificates. I work from home. I mean, I could put them on my wall behind me, but I don't. I like my wall. But it just gives us more confidence. We know that we've accomplished these things, and it makes us feel more confident about doing our businesses. Now, I'm going to ask somebody in our peanut gallery down there who would like to tell the audience about what happens in a Toastmaster meeting. What's the format? What do we do when we go there? And all of you have been officers and taken leadership roles, so you're all very qualified to answer this question. I'm going to go with either Brian or Edie. Do one of you two volunteer? I bet Brian will. He's smiling. Unmute yourself, Brian. Oh, we don't hear you. Now we hear you. Now we hear you.
I was muted twice, hardware and then by you. So, what was the question? Give me the question again, I'll tell you.
So what happens in a Toastmasters meeting, and in our club specifically? What's the format of a meeting? What do we do there?
Okay, from the bang of the gavel put forth by our Sergeant-at-Arms, right at 7:30 a.m. sharp, we begin our meeting, and then basically the president is introduced to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I can go through the whole agenda. It might take me 15 minutes, but in the end I'll gloss over the things that come up. We tell a joke, we have an inspirational moment, we then introduce our speakers, and each speaker has an evaluator. So once the speaking is done, then we move on to something called table topics, which If you've never spoken off the cuff before and you have any fear of public speaking, you'll probably just put your head down and try not to be volunteered to speak as a table topics speaker. So then we vote on all these things, who was the best of everything, and then, well, then we have evaluators. So then the evaluators get up, tell you how well the speakers did, what they could do better next time, and then we have a general evaluator who tells us how the whole meeting went. Hopefully we have guests and we get their opinions and they get the experience of seeing how a Toastmasters meeting, how much fun and love is in that room. And pretty close to 8:25, we're figuring out what we're going to do next and putting that little bit of planning together for our next meeting. 8:30 on the nose, the gavel is banged once again and the meeting is adjourned. How's that?
That was actually perfect, Brian. Great job. Thank you. And we actually met yesterday. Thursday is our meeting day for the Desert Sunrise speakers. We had 2 guests, and this was the first time that either of those guests had visited our club. Now, guests are not required to pay. They can come for free and check out a meeting as many times as they want till they decide whether or not they feel comfortable joining. And for us in the meeting, we love having guests because we're all practicing speaking. We love an audience to speak in front of. So if you want to check out a meeting and see what it's like with no obligation, please come anytime. We love to have you just to have an audience, right? Both our guests yesterday ended up joining at the end of the meeting, though. They loved it so much, and they saw how supportive we are. Brian spoke a little bit about how the speakers have evaluators. Edie, I'm going to go to you now and ask you, please tell us a little bit more about, Brian mentioned we have a couple of speakers. What are they? Is that just a couple of minutes? Are they featured speakers? Tell us a little bit what they do, and then tell us a little bit more about what the evaluators do.
Well, nearly all of the speeches in all of the projects are 5 to 7 minutes. And the speaker is required to speak at least 4 minutes, 30 seconds. They have a 30-second edge on either side. Or if they have to be finished by 7 minutes, 30. We time the speeches. We learn to, that's one of the biggest things that speakers aren't good at, is winding their speech up in a fashionable amount of time so that their audience doesn't go to sleep on them or walk out. So we learn to pay attention to the time because we have a timer that's waving colored lights at us as we reach the final thing. Anyway. So and the speech has a theme, a purpose. You're learning in the first 10 speeches, you're either learning something like how to use your voice effectively or how to put the speech together effectively, how to get to the point, all the different things that make for a good speech, a real speech, not just a little talk around fireside or something. When that's finished, then we have, that's the end of the question, right? That answers your question?
Well, no, tell us a little bit about the evaluators, too. Tell us a little bit about the evaluators. What's the objective of getting an evaluation for the speaker?
Okay. Yeah, each speaker have their project book with questions in the book, and they answer those questions as how well they did at what they were aiming at. And then the evaluator gets up and tells them the goal is to tell them some good things about what they did and something that could be improved if they spoke that speech again. We're all listening. We learn to listen to and able to evaluate well, and which carries off into all of our areas of expertise. If you're a manager, to be able to evaluate either your coworkers or the people that are under you, it's just a skill that's the best thing I've learned in Toastmasters. And I also found I was really surprised. The things they said good about my speech, I was just as surprised about as the things I could do better. It really enforces your skills. It's the most important thing that Toastmasters does, in my opinion.
Thank you, Edie, so much. That was a great explanation of telling our audience what that's all about. Thank you so much. Linda, I'm going to go to you now because you spoke yesterday and your speech was about the benefits of Toastmasters. It was great. And one of the things that really caught me in your speech was you said sometimes you think you're a great speaker, and just because you think you're a great speaker doesn't actually mean that you're a great speaker. And one of the things that Edie just mentioned was timing, and you talked about how people go over time. I had an experience where I was meant to be a speaker in a lineup. The speaker before me was supposed to go on for 10 minutes, and I was supposed to go on for, I think, 20 minutes. Well, they didn't have anybody keeping track of time. And the speaker before me took 30 minutes, which means that when it became my turn, I had like 3 minutes to speak, and that was it. And as a speaker being invited to do something, and especially if I'm doing it without asking for pay, which I was doing it voluntarily for this organization, I basically wasted all my time going there and didn't even get a chance to speak. So that was not a positive experience, and it meant that I probably would not go back to speak for this organization again if they asked me. Linda, please touch a little more on some of those things that Toastmasters helps us do in the role of Toastmaster of ceremonies, timing, that sort of thing.
Unfortunately, in your situation, not only did you walk away with a bad taste, but the people who were listening to you, you had 3 minutes to convey your information, so you didn't get a chance to convey the information you wanted to. Had you had somebody who was overseeing the ceremony and everybody understood what their role was and their timing, then that person could have somehow eased their way in to be able to shorten that other speaker's time. The Toastmaster's responsibility is to make sure that the meeting is on time. The Toastmaster's responsibility is to make sure that we have everything in the meeting that we need to have in the meeting, and that by 8:30 we're gaveling and the meeting is over. And that's a leadership role. It takes great leadership to be able to say, thank you very much for your information, and to be able to stop that person somehow, tactfully, and move on to the next. It takes great leadership to do that, and that's why it's important when you practice something enough as Toastmaster, you're practicing leading that meeting. And if you practice enough, then when you're in a real life situation where you're not in a safe place of this meeting and people that love you and they support you, then you're able to stand up as a leader and take that place as a leader.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was perfect, actually. You're experienced. I see all that Toastmasters training. Tim, I'm going to go to you now. And for the audience benefit, you'll see a little bit of this in a little while, because after the half-hour mark, we're going to do an example round of table topics, so you can see how fun that is. But for right now, Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what table topics is? Brian had said in the format of the meeting we have speakers, and then we do table topics. Can you explain to us a little bit more about what table topics is and what skills that helps us develop?
Well, yes, in table topics, you practice thinking on your feet, speaking on your feet. That's the whole object. You have 1 to 2 minutes, and the speech is timed. And you're given a topic. You're given a topic that you are to speak on. You are free to ignore that word you're given altogether, or the topic. It's just the idea is to speak lucidly for 1 to 2 minutes, just off the top of your head.
So when you say you're given a topic, that means that the table topics master chooses a topic, says it, and then picks someone, because so they don't have any advance notice of what the topic there is for them to speak about. They just have to come up with something kind of off the cuff, correct?
That's right. That's right. For instance, if I decide today's table topics would be clothing and accessories, I could throw out the word shirt, and I pick someone at random from the group, Linda, talk about shirt for 1 to 2 minutes. And I'm sure Linda would have something to say about it.
And the nice thing about it is that it's a very open format. It leaves it up to you. So in that scenario that Tim gave us, shirt, Linda could tell us about the shirt she's wearing. She could tell us about the favorite shirt she ever saw in a store window but never bought. She could talk about red shirts on Star Trek and how they're always dying off. I mean, it can go in any direction that you really want to take it. And as Tim said, you don't actually have to speak about shirts if you can think on your feet and find a way to talk about what you really want to talk about. So say what I really want to talk about is flowers, but the topic I'm given is shirts. I might say, well, you know, my favorite shirt is this one that has all these flowers, and that really reminds me, and then I go into talking about flowers. So it's a really great exercise of thinking on your feet. And as someone who, in my previous job, I was the public information associate person, I was the person that was the face of the public, and people would come up and ask me questions, or the media might ask questions. And I didn't go to Toastmasters at that time, but now that I have been to Toastmasters, I really wish I had, because that was always the thing that was the most nerve-wracking to me, the really unexpected questions that people would ask. And going to Toastmasters has given me now the confidence I wish I had then in answering those questions.
Yes,
We're at, oh, go ahead, Tim.
Each club has its own way of doing things. I belong to a couple of clubs where they do the table topics first, and then they go to prepared speeches. Most clubs, it's the other way around, prepared speeches and then table topics.
Right, so there's some leeway in the clubs, and if you want to check out a club and you go to one and you really like it, great. But if you're not really crazy about it, don't assume that that would be the case for the other clubs. Go look at all the clubs in your area, visit them, and see which one really works with you. Now, our club, the Desert Sunrise Speakers, that meets on Thursday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. at the Portola Community Center, is a little more business-oriented. We have a lot of business owners in our club who like the early morning because they can get it done, get it started out of the way before they start their workday. And also, our club is a little more serious than some of the other clubs. We really strive to learn these skills and increase our skills. Some of the other clubs I've been to were a little more fun, social gathering, and not as adamant about really learning how to improve our public speaking and leadership skills. An example of that is the dinger. In our club, we have a dinger. It's called the ah counter, and I call it the dinger because we actually have a bell. And anytime, except for the main featured speakers, because we don't want to detract from their speakers or throw them off, but anybody else, someone who's doing table topics or giving reports or evaluations, anything else, anytime they say or ah or some other kind of crutch word like you know, we actually ding them with the bell. Some of the other clubs don't use the bell. They find it too intimidating. And what they'll do is they'll have their ah counter just mark on a piece of paper how many times the person said ah. And the ah counter stands up and gives a report at the end of the meeting and tells everybody how many times they said ah or did a double take, whatever it is that they were doing. However, as a speaker, I find that nothing breaks you of the habit of saying and ah, like getting dinged by a bell every time you say it. I have seen contests where contestants from clubs that have a bell are really much more polished. They don't have those ums and ahs. And the contestants from the clubs that only count and give the count at the end, they still have a lot of ums and ahs in their contest, in their speech, which means that generally speaking, they're not going to go higher up in the contest. They're not going to go up to the district level and world championship. When you watch those world championship speakers, they are really polished. You're not going to hear one and ah unless it was pointedly put in there for the purpose of the speech. We are at 9:30 already, so again, if anybody out there is watching, I'd like to ask you to post your questions in the comments so we can answer them, or come on in and join us. We had a couple of people join us. Since we started, let's let them introduce themselves. First, we'll go to Bill. Hi, Bill. Bill
Hi,
Anderson, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Bill Sanderson, and I am wear many hats in what I do, but my new business is my partner. We're opening a bagel bakery in Palm Springs. So we will be, daily working there, but I am still a techie head, and we still do software and web development. Right now I'm making menu boards in Photoshop for our restaurant. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I enjoy Milani's talks, and I try to get in on those as quickly as possible when I can. Thank you.
Are you a Toastmaster, Bill?
No, I did take some speaking classes millennia ago when language was first invented in high school. And we actually used a bell during those sessions.
Oh, great. Awesome. So did you come in because you wanted to hear more about what a Toastmasters meeting is like, or just because it was a TGIF and trying to come in?
No, I actually took a break and I wanted to learn more about it. I don't have time right now, but I do want to join. I think once my store is open, I'll be able to ferret out some time to go there in the morning, because being a bakery, we'll be up at 4 in the morning, so we'll probably be halfway through our day by the time you have your Toastmasters, so I think it'd be a good fit. And like any public job, you are speaking and you are on, and you do have to be somewhat articulate, and I think that helps everybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't wait till your bakery opens. We don't have enough of the bagel bakeries over out here in the Palm Springs area, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, thank you.
Hi, Rick. Rick, you're next.
Hi,
Rick,
good morning.
please go ahead and introduce yourself.
I didn't hear that last part.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do, and if you're a Toastmaster, and why you decided to go to Toastmasters if you are.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rick Tyson. I'm a realtor in Palm Springs, and my specialty is desert hot springs, where what I do to bring attention to what I do and desert hot springs is I feature the desert lifestyle, the healthy living lifestyle, and sometimes even my Toastmasters Club. I'm president of my Toastmasters Club, and even though it's difficult getting a new club started, we are off the ground. But I've already seen the effects of Toastmasters and practicing the basics of speaking in some of the new members who have never been in Toastmasters. It helps them in their personal life to be more expressive. They start at the beginning, go to the middle, and it has an ending, a conclusion, which is sort of a miracle for some people who sometimes start their speaking, personal speaking, in the middle of a thought. But in Toastmasters, it sort of forces you to start at the beginning, make sure you're with your audience, and have a conclusion. So I joined the Hangout today to see who else was interested in this. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. That was great. Thank you. Okay, let me go to the page here. I'm not seeing any questions. So on to our next segment. We're going to give you a little demonstration of how much fun we have at a Toastmasters meeting. Tim Johnson has graciously accepted the challenge of being our Table Topics Master for a little round of Table Topics right here on the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. I will turn the camera to Tim. He will give us a topic. He will choose somebody to answer that topic or speak about that topic. Table Topics goes for 1 to 2 minutes. I will be the timer because I have my iPad here with a little timer. And what we do is at 1 minute we show something green, which means, okay, the green light is on. You have done your thing. So I will hold this up to my camera, and I will ask our other participants to be watching my little screen on the bottom for their symbols. That's the green thing. Let's see. Will this work for yellow? There's yellow. Wait a minute. Maybe this will work for yellow. Okay, here's a yellow sticky note. That will be yellow. That comes on at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that means that you have 30 seconds to wrap up what you're talking about. And red means at 2 minutes, it's red. That means it's time to stop. You do get 30 seconds grace, so if the red light goes on, you really have to wrap it up. If you go over 30 seconds past the red light, that means you are disqualified from when we vote on who was the best table topic speaker. Okay? So Tim, let me go ahead and give the camera to you. Give out a topic, choose the person. I will put the camera on that person. Don't choose Bill unless Bill wants to try to participate, because he's not a Toastmaster. Bill, if you're brave, you're welcome to participate. But everybody else here is a Toastmaster, and they can do it. Don't choose me because I'm timing. And give the topic, choose somebody, and then remember, speaker, watch me.
Okay, folks. Today's table topics: fashion accessories, clothing and accessories. Talk for 1 to 2 minutes about pants. Brian.
We don't hear you, Brian. We don't hear you, Brian.
I am Brian Rowley. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. My pants. Fashion accessory? Not. I wear a belt every day. That's as much as I can tell you about the fashion accessories that go with my pants. This is the only other fashion accessory I have. See that? So that's all the jewelry I wear, and I'm only sometimes wearing those. And that is my full report on fashion accessories, pants, or otherwise. Again, Brian Rowley, signing off.
Okay.
What was the word of the day? I didn't get the word of the day. No word of the day.
You're right, word of the day. Generally speaking, when we do table topics, we have a word of the day, and another requirement is to use the word of the day. So, Brian, you were disqualified because that was only 30 seconds. You didn't make it to the 1 minute mark.
You know what? As soon as I realized I didn't have the word of the day, I didn't have enough material, so I blame the process.
Okay, so let's do a word of the day. And I am going to give you the word of the day, and we're going to make that word of the day TGIF. Or its long form, thank God it's Friday, or thank Goddess it's Friday. So, word of the day is TGIF. Tim, our table topics master, go ahead. What is the second topic, and who will be speaking on that?
Okay. Sunglasses, Edie.
Unmute yourself, Edie. Move your mouse around on the screen, and at the top you'll see a microphone button.
I unclicked the one in my little window. Did that work?
Okay, there you go. Yep.
Okay. Sunglasses, right? They're not a fashion accessory unless you want to hide. It works out very well to at least think you're hidden. You can't get eye contact, which is an important thing in Toastmasters. But it does keep you from squinting if you're out in the bright light. Or if you're going to cry, you can hide. So sunglasses come in rather handy. And when it's, thank God it's Friday, sunglasses can be used. I would rather thank God it's Thursday, because Thursday is our meetings and it's the highlight of my week typically, whether I do well or not.
Uh-oh.
Which is one of the things I get in trouble for because I'm not supposed to. So I give it back to the Toast Table Topics Master of the Day. Uh-oh, what happened?
We lost you for a second, but that's okay. I got you down here. Alrighty. Go ahead, Tim. Who's next?
Okay. Keychain. Rick.
Keychain. And the word of the day is TGIF. Go ahead, Rick.
I still didn't get what Tim said.
Keychain.
Keychain. Keychain.
Keychain.
You have your keys on a keychain.
Oh, a keychain. Oh, okay. First it sounded like PJs. Right. Keychain. Keychains were something that we wore in a long time ago that went sort of well with three-piece suit. I, for many years as a management consultant, had to wear a three-piece suit everywhere I went. We wore hats. We were fully outfitted, tied, blue suit, blue tie. We even wore hats to use the same. Another instance of wearing hats. Finally, we would wear these hats every single day, wear fully dressed, keychains, every possible thing we could use as a fashion accessory as management consultants until we came to Friday. Now, Friday, we didn't have to wear our hats on the plane going home. So I always thought to myself, TGIF. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Excellent. Excellent job, Rick. Thank you so much. Hang on, I gotta get my pen here. Okay. And I got a message here from Bill. He would like to give it a shot. So, Tim, why don't you give the next topic to Bill?
All righty. Bill, talk about hats.
Well, good morning. I'm Bill Sanderson. Can you hear me all right, everyone?
Yes.
Good. Well, being a bald person, I wear a lot of hats to keep the sun off my head. I don't want to have to get skin cancer later in life. So that is why I have several baseball caps. I have pork pie hats, and hats come in all shapes and sizes for men. I don't wear women's hats because people give me funny looks. But I think you could really walk a hat down the street with a feather in it, and people will look at you and think that you're something special. But hats blow away here in the wind, so I don't have anything to glue it down with, not having any hair, so I can't wear a hat pin. Women are very lucky. They can wear hat pins because they have hair to hold the hat down. Me, I just puncture my scalp. But maybe some duct tape. Duct tape with a hat would work for me. I think that would look good, but I think peeling it off would be very painful. Or maybe there's some kind of hat glue I could get to keep my hat on during these blustery days we have here, especially when you're out by the windmills. You have to hold your hat down. But hats, I'm not a haberdashery, but I think I could probably find one, but they're going away. But maybe we'll find one if I go to New York. And that's all I know about hats. Maybe you have a hat, or your favorite hat. Wear it today. Thank you. Back to the Toastmaster.
Very good. Wow. Not even a Toastmaster, but you need to be. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Let me see. I'm writing down the time. And you didn't even say or once. That was excellent. Okay, and all right, Tim, go ahead. Who's next? Oh, unmute yourself, Tim, please. I muted you. Move your mouse around and click on the mute button in your little window or at the top of the Hangout window. There you go.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk about shoes, Linda.
All right.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I love shoes. Who doesn't love shoes? I'll tell you who doesn't love shoes. My husband. He loves his shoes, but he doesn't love my shoes when they are laying around the house. Because the way this works is Linda comes home and I slip my feet out of my shoes somewhere, and all of a sudden I hear, one day I'm going to kill myself on these shoes. The most difficult thing about having many shoes is when I open my closet, I have to actually sit on the floor and rummage through to make sure that I have matching shoes. The problem with this is if I'm in a hurry, I may find myself out and about and look down and see two very similar shoes. Not the same shoes, just very similar shoes. My husband doesn't have as many pairs of shoes as I have, and I have to tell you, one day we were out and he had to go home because he was the one that had different shoes. So as a result, it's not just the girl with all the shoes that messes up. Sometimes it's the guy that just has a couple pairs that messes up as well. At the end of the week, TGIF, because I can pull off my high heels and put on my lower heels and kick my feet up and just enjoy all my shoes, every type. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you.
Now, Tim, we
think
are done with table topics.
Yes. So
We don't have any more time.
I would call for a timer's report on table topics.
Thank you very much. The timer's report will come from me because I was keeping time. Let's see. Out of our guests who spoke, Edie, Rick, Bill, Linda, and Brian, only Rick, Bill, and Linda qualified. Both Edie and Brian fell short of the 1 minute mark, so they did not qualify. So when you're voting for the best table topic speaker, as far as timing is concerned, Rick, Bill, and Linda.
And a word of the day report.
Okay, me, that's word of the day report too. Our word of the day was used out of the people who qualified for time by Linda. Rick did not use TGIF, I don't think. If anybody heard him use that, please correct me.
Rick did. Rick,
he did.
Rick did? Okay.
TGIF.
Awesome. So I wasn't sure, so awesome. Rick used TGIF, Linda used TGIF. Bill, I didn't catch it from you, so unfortunately you are not qualified. Our voting today for the best table topic speaker will be between Rick Tyson and Linda Jesse. And that is how we do table topics at a Toastmasters meeting. Now, why do we do awards? It's very important that we do awards. We vote for a best speaker, a best evaluator, and a best table topic speaker at each meeting. Linda, you have a lot of experience with this, and you are an immediate past president. Let me ask you, why is it important that we vote for awards and that we go up and receive an award?
I believe there's a couple reasons. First of all, you're taking what you're doing seriously. You are competing. And it's important to feel how it feels to win and feel how it feels to have somebody else win. And that's okay. The other thing is, as we walk through life, sometimes you are presented with an award. And if you don't have experience reaching out to get that award and reaching out to shake that hand, you may not understand how to do that. So this actually gives you experience in doing, not only receiving the award, but also giving an award.
Thank you. That's exactly right. If you are giving or receiving an award, you want to make sure that you go up there and receive it graciously, and you do so in such a way that you create a photo opportunity, because more likely than not, there's going to be someone there who wants to put this in a press release, who wants to put this out on their socials, and is going to want to take a picture. So you have to learn how to go up there, shake a hand, smile, and accept an award all at the same time while making it into a great picture pose. And it sounds, well, it's actually not as easy as it sounds. It sounds kind of easy. Oh, I'm just going to go up and get it. But it really does take practice. So in our weekly meetings at the Desert Sunrise Speakers in Palm Desert at the Portola Community Center on Thursdays from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m., we get that practice. We go up there and we accept our awards and we learn how to shake hands and smile and hold our ribbon up and make it a great photo opportunity. We are already at 9:50 a.m. My, how the hour goes quickly, just like at a Toastmasters meeting. So at this time, I would like to go back to our panelists and guests and have everybody give us any last questions, any last thoughts, any last urges that they want to urge people to come to our open house. The Desert Sunrise Speakers is having an open house. We invite everybody to come down and check out our meeting. That's going to be on Thursday, April 2nd. Just remember, the day after April Fool's Day, at the Portola Community Center at 7:15 in the morning. We start at 7:30, but we like to arrive a little bit early so we can greet you, get you comfortable, make sure that you're welcome, and settled in before the meeting starts. So Bill, I'm just going to go left to right, and on my screen, you are the first person in line. Bill, go ahead and let us know what you thought of the table topics today, what you thought of the show, and if you have any promos that you want to give, anything that you want to ask, last thoughts, here's your chance.
I have to use TGIF now, because I knew I didn't put it in, even though I wrote it down for my speech. But no, I definitely want to participate in the group. I just have to carve out some time once this store gets open, and then maybe in 6 months I'll be able to do it. But right now, I just want to keep abreast of what the group does. I've learned a lot more than I knew before, so I know the format, and I think that helps me out greatly as I move forward and can be joining one of the groups. And thank you for hosting this.
And just thank you. And so anybody knows, there are several Toastmasters groups out here in the Coachella Valley and wherever you are. So a lot of them are listed on meetup.com, but you can also go to toastmasters.org and do a search for your local area to see all the clubs that are listed there. And they even let you refine it by, I want an evening club, I want a morning club, I want it within so many miles. So you can go to toastmasters.org and find clubs near you. Brian, you're next.
That's funny. On my screen, if we were going left to right, Edie would be next. So in any case, I was happy to hear you mention the open house because that's what I was going to say. And also, I've exchanged a bit of email with you and others about creating some kind of a flyer that we can use to hand out to invite people to our open house, as well as maybe just a generic, here's what Toastmasters is about. We think you'd love it. Come join us at Toastmasters, and here's all the information you need to know, and be able to hand that to people, because I run into people who sometimes I think they've just got that presentation quality and they just maybe don't even know how good they would be in Toastmasters. So I want to invite them and have them come and see what's available to them, and perhaps even encourage them to develop their skills and become an awesome world champion potential public speaker.
Thank you, Brian. And speaking of the little handout or flyer, if you check the event page, I just loaded one that I'm working on, and I'll be sending out to all of you this afternoon in my club that you can give out to print out and give out to other people.
All right.
Edie, please unmute yourself. You're next.
What's the question again? Just what did I think of the hangout?
Any last questions? Any thoughts that you want to? Any last thoughts you want to do? Any last promotions? Any last questions? Any last things that you want to get out there and tell people about Toastmasters?
Well, this is supposed to be about Toastmasters. I'm overwhelmed by the technology of the Hangout. I've been in once before, but quite lost. I'm still a little lost, and it's pretty incredible. And I can see how it can work with Toastmasters. That's all I'll say right now.
Okay, thank you so much. Linda Jesse, you're next.
Last thoughts for me would be, if you are a seasoned speaker or if you're afraid of speaking, Toastmasters is for you. It doesn't matter where you are, what level you are as far as speaking is concerned, because we can learn something, whether it's in the speaking aspect or the leadership aspect. So please join us.
Great. Perfect point, too. Doesn't matter where you are. Seasoned speakers still get a lot out of the club. Rick Tyson, you are next. you have any last thoughts that you'd like to send out there or questions?
Well, I think the most challenging part of Toastmasters is to consider your audience and keep them in mind as you speak. One of the, I would say, emphases of Toastmasters is how to organize your speech and deliver it. If you don't consider your audience while you're doing that, you can lose them very quickly. So always look right in their eyes, always be considerate of maybe a dense point that you have made that needs clarification, clarification, and your audience begins to respond to you. That's the second thing. See if they are responding and don't ignore them. Those are things that I found very beneficial. Thank you.
That is great advice. Great advice, Rick. Thank you so much. Spot on. Tim, you're next. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was pleased to meet someone new today. And Bill, can you tell us where we'll find your bagel shop?
Surely. The bagel shop will be on Sunny Dunes near the Palm Canyon side where the old Talakapaki restaurant used to be. It's 650 Sunny Dunes Road in Palm Springs. We'll be opening technically the end of April if all of our permitting and planned review by the city and the Riverside County Health Department get completed quickly. If they don't, it pushes it out every week. They delay, we delay. So right now we're pushing out probably the second week of April from our original schedule because the powers that be take 1 to 6 weeks to approve all plans. So it could be very expedient or it could be very delayed depending on what their schedules are. And we have no way of knowing what their schedules are. But we're hoping for the best and we're planning for the long term. So my partner's been baking bagels for 10 years. You can also sample our bagels if you go to the Palm Springs Farmers Market that's located behind Camelot Theater on Saturdays at 8 to noon. And we're also at the Palm Desert Farmers Market, which is at the Galen Center in Palm Springs and the Visitor Center parking lot across from Whole Foods on Wednesday mornings, 8 to noon. Except for the first Wednesday of the month, they just changed it to an afternoon market from 4 to 8. So to be a little confusing, but not. Thank you.
And Bill, just so you know, you and your partner you have an open invitation to be a featured guest on TGIF if you ever have the time once you open to promote your store and tell us what it was like for the experience of everything that you had to go through to get to the point of opening a store. I think that would be a great episode. And
you
just let me know.
I definitely plan to do that, and we're going to have you there doing, because we'll have Vios 25 meg up and down Wi-Fi, so we're going to have you on site doing your TGIF.
Ooh, that would be fun. That would be awesome. I'd love to do that.
Okay.
That's a date. Yay. Okay. Anything else, Tim, that you'd like to let us know about or share?
Well, just Google Toastmasters to find out different clubs and look on Meetup.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And for the benefit of the audience, after I end the show today, I will go into the comments at the event page listing, and I will put the information for the meetings for our club. There's already a graphic there that is an invitation to the open house. And I will also put links to our Meetup group and our Toastmasters.org website where you can go and find clubs near you. Thank you for joining us today on the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. It was great to have you here. Our next episode of the TGIF Business Networking Hangout is going to be on, what is it going to be on? It is going to be on Friday, March 20th. That's 2 weeks from today. And my guest is going to be the awesome John Jerkowitz. He is another consultant. He is a business consultant for businesses with, I think he said 100 employees or more. And he is really, really good. So he's going to come in. He's been actually helping me a lot. We are working together on some things and providing each other with some advice that is really just so beneficial to both of us. And I love him to pieces. He has his own Hangout show, so look for him on his profile. I'll put that in our event comments as well. I'll put a link to John's profile, and you'll be able to circle him, get notices for his shows. Ask him to be put in the notify circle. If any of you would like to be notified for TGIF episodes, they happen twice a month, so you don't get a lot of spam. But if you'd like to get notices for the circle, please put a request in the message box in the post box underneath the events page, and let me know that you'd like to be added to the circles, and you will be invited to join in anytime you like. We are an open networking show, not just an interview show, so I do invite you to come and join us inside the Hangout. It's a great opportunity if you'd like to get some practice being in front of the camera, if you'd like to get some practice giving your 30-second elevator speech, or just feeling comfortable inside a Hangout. Of course, you don't have to. You can always just participate by joining in the comments on the event page. So that's it for today's episode of the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. I'm your host, Melanie MacDonald, small business and outreach consultant. Check me out on my profile. Check out my Blooming Business Club. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.